What if I told you that one of the most decisive forwards of his generation, a player who lived under maximum pressure from a very young age, who won the Ballon d'Or and was a protagonist on the biggest stages of world football, has just said that Cristiano Ronaldo is nowhere near Messi or Maradona? He didn't hint at it. He said it outright. No beating around the bush. And the most striking part is that he said it publicly in a brief interview, fully aware that his words were going to shake the landscape. Michael Owen, a legend of Liverpool, former player for Real Madrid and Manchester United, and a historic reference for the English national team, has just left Cristiano Ronaldo out of his all-time podium. And not out of caprice, but out of conviction. Because when Owen speaks, he doesn't do it from fandom. He speaks from experience, from having shared locker rooms with absolute icons, from having faced elite defenders, and from having lived football from the inside, in the Premier League, in La Liga, and in the biggest international tournaments. From having seen Lionel Messi redefine the game and Diego Maradona turn into a myth across generations. And in that context, his statement is not just an opinion, it's a verdict. In the documentary Ronaldo El Fenomeno, Owen reveals his top 3 footballers in history: Messi, Maradona, and Ronaldo Nazario. And yes, the absence of Cristiano Ronaldo is as loud as it is revealing. Because we're not talking about a journalist chasing clicks. We're talking about a Ballon d'Or winner who knows what it means to make a difference at the highest level. Someone who saw up close what very few have seen. Who knows what it's like to face a genius and what it's like to compete against an extraordinary athlete. And who, with that perspective, decided that Cristiano is not in the same conversation. And then the inevitable question appears. What did Owen see that many don't? What did he feel watching Maradona that he didn't feel watching Cristiano? What did Messi transmit to him to place him on that podium, even without having shared the pitch with him? The answer lies in impact, in what a player generates beyond the numbers. Because yes, Cristiano has more goals than almost everyone, more trophies than many, but not more records than Messi. And that is key. Because if we're going to talk about statistics, we have to do it precisely. Messi has more team titles, more Ballons d'Or, more assists, a better goals per game average, and more technical records that define the game. So if Owen chooses him over Cristiano, it's not just about what he feels, it's also about what he knows. Because if football were only statistics, Cristiano would be indisputable. But football isn't played in Excel. It's played on the skin, in memory, in the soul, and that's where Messi and Maradona separate themselves from the rest. Because they didn't just win, they didn't just shine. They made football into something else, something bigger, more human, more magical. Messi, with his silence, his humility, with a left foot that seems to have an emotional GPS, achieved what very few have, moving people without speaking. Maradona, with his rebellion, his overflowing talent, with his story of lights and shadows, became a legend. And Ronaldo Nazario, with his power, his technique, and his smile, was the striker everyone feared and everyone admired. Cristiano, on the other hand, represents something else. Extreme professionalism, absolute discipline, the constant pursuit of perfection. And that also has merit, a lot of it. But for Owen, it's not enough to be an Olympus. Because Olympus is not earned, it's felt. Not everything that shines is legacy. Sometimes legacy doesn't shine, but it illuminates. And that's what Owen is saying. That legacy is not measured only in goals. It's measured in memories, in sensations, in moments that change you. And in that sense, Messi and Maradona are in another galaxy. Now I ask you, do you agree with Owen? Is Cristiano really below Messi and Maradona? Or can legacy also be built through obsession and effort? In the world of football, where every word weighs more than a through ball in the 90th minute, what Michael Owen said was not a simple opinion. It was a statement that shook the foundations of the most entrenched debate of the last 2 decades, Messi versus Cristiano. And he did it without seeking controversy, without raising his voice, without the need for embellishment. He said it like someone who knows he doesn't need to convince anyone, because his career speaks for him. Owen, one of the most precocious and decisive forwards of his era, Ballon d'Or winner, protagonist in the Premier League, La Liga, and the Champions League, chose his podium of the 3 greatest footballers of all time. And he did it in an official documentary, with cameras, lights, and context. It wasn't a cafe conversation, it was a public statement. Messi, Maradona, and Ronaldo Nazario. And yes, Cristiano Ronaldo was left out. Now, why does this matter so much? Because Owen is not an influencer, not a journalist, not a former player seeking attention. He's someone who lived football from the inside, who felt the pressure of scoring, who understood the game from the attack, from decision-making, from respect for pure talent. And when someone like that speaks, football listens. What Owen is saying, without saying it directly, is that football isn't measured only by titles or records, that there is something more important than numbers, that there are players who transcend because of what they provoke, not because of what they accumulate. And in that sense, his choice is forceful. Maradona, the rebellious genius who turned every match into a theatrical performance. Ronaldo Nazario, the striker who redefined speed, technique, and fear inside the box. And Messi, the silent artist who turned football into a symphony. 3 different styles, 3 different eras, but one common thread: emotional impact. Cristiano, by contrast, represents physical perfection, absolute discipline, obsession with the record. And that also has merit. A lot. But for Owen, it's not enough to be an Olympus. Because Olympus is not one with abs. It's one with moments that change the way you see football. And this is not an attack on Cristiano. It's a reflection on what we value in sport. Is it more important to win or to move people? Is it more valuable to break records or to break hearts? What remains when the numbers are forgotten? Owen, with his words, forces us to rethink everything, to look beyond marketing, beyond followers, beyond trophies, to ask ourselves what we truly remember about a player, their goals or their gestures, their titles or their silences, their statistics or their impossible plays. And in that terrain, Messi is unreachable. Because he didn't just win, he didn't just shine, he made football into something else, something purer, more human, more magical. And that, for someone like Michael Owen, who lived the game at the limit from a very young age and understood the weight of talent, matters more than any Ballon d'Or. What Owen said is not a provocation. It's an invitation to look at football with different eyes, to value the intangible, to understand that legacy is not measured in trophy cases, but in emotions. And that, in that sense, Messi and Maradona are in another galaxy, because at the end of the day, trophies are stored away. But moments are felt. And that, in football, is what really matters. If you like this story, subscribe to the channel. Because here, we don't just analyze football, we live it, we debate it, and we feel it, just like you.